It's basically doing 3 EDR, 1 aspect of the other. Take every aspect of an enduro race and you push it to the absolute max. Because the loop is 120 kilometers and there's 8,000 meters of climbing. The day is huge. For the last 6 years, all the money I made will be put into my racing. In biking, people feel that they want to be in the box. Like, I'm an XC racer, I'm a marathon racer, I'm an Enduro World Cup racer. I just like big mountain riding.
Glenn MacArthur, welcome to the Downtime podcast, mate. How's things with you today?
Great. Thank you for having me. Really happy to be here.
Good stuff, man. Yeah, I'm excited to find out a bit more about you. We first crossed paths in 2023, I think, at Stone King Rally. And I sort of became aware of what you're up to. But yeah, I want to take it back to the start and introduce you and where you come from. And I think where you come from is a big part of you. So can you tell us a little bit about where you grew up?
Yeah, so I was born in Briançon, which is a town in the Hautes-Alpes department in France. And it's in the Alps, in the middle of the Alps. But I now live in the Giro, which is a natural reserve, just a bit south from Briançon. And I always live here. And it's a pretty remote valley. So there's only one road that goes up to the Giro all year. And the rest of the year in the summer, there's 2 cols. The Col Isoire, which is pretty famous for Tour de France Live and everything. And there's a Col Niel, which goes into Italy. But these 2 parts are really high up. So they're only open in the summer. They close in the winter. So it's pretty remote because there's a valley that you don't like drive through or pass through. Like, you need to go there to end up here. So it's pretty quiet. And yeah, it's a pretty wide valley. Has some really, really cool landscape, really cool mountains. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a very special part of the world. And I think that the part of that area you grew up in was really small, right? I think you said like there was about 20 people and 20 cows there.
Yeah, when I was really small, like till I was 7, we lived in a really high village just before Cologne, so just before the Italian border. And it was at a bit above 2,000 meter high. And all year round, we were about 22 or 23 to live there. And I'm in the summing of 5, so that was like a quarter of the village. But there was other village and like a ski resort a bit further down, like a few minutes down the road. But yeah.
How did that landscape influence then what you were into and what you were doing as a kid?
Well, of course, when you live here as a kid, you go skiing really young. So I think maybe 3 or 4 years old, I was skiing. I remember I was pretty proud when we go skiing because I was the only one that was driving down to go to a ski resort. Everyone else was driving up, of course. So it was funny to ski lower than in my home. And so, yeah, a lot of skiing and each summer or anything, you just outside all the time, yeah.
Yeah. How high were you in that initial place? Like over 2,000 meters or?
Yeah. I'm like 2,750 was.
Whoa.
Too high, yeah. Long winters, big winters, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And so skiing was a big part of life for all the kids, I guess, in that region. Yeah. And you naturally, I suppose, went into racing? Yeah, with skiing, you go racing really early. Like, even if, I was at the ski club when I was about 10, I guess. But as soon as you're at the ski club, there's local races every weekend. And so since I was like 10 years old, I've been kind of racing, but a really amateur level, like just for fun. But really soon, had this against the clock thing, like when you're really small and you still race stand up. So yeah. And did you enjoy racing? Was that something that kind of lit a bit of a fire inside you?
Yeah, I wasn't really competitive on skiing. I had a lot of fun, and I just did it because everyone was doing it, and that's where my friends were. But no, I wasn't really into ski racing that much. I can't remember being like on the wind straight or anything on skis, but yeah, that's what we did. I think it was just a social thing to go skiing. Like, everyone was skiing, all your friends at school was skiing, so just go skiing with them in the weekend, and yeah. But no, not. Yeah. Later on, I did a bit more of ski racing, and I wanted to be a bit more competitive, I think. But I was never really. I was like top 20 in the region, maybe, or like in under 14. So it's like really basic not low level, but like basic, just yeah, as a hobby. Yeah.
Yeah, fair play. And school's quite supportive of skiing in the area you are. There's like a ski section, right, that gives you time to go and ski.
Yeah, exactly. And that was really cool, actually, because the main thing was to go skiing in the winter, of course. But as the winter is only a few months and we have school all year round, we did a lot of other sports. And that was the thing that helped me the most and changed me the most, because we were doing all sorts of sports. And that's what I really liked about this section. Like, we were riding bikes in the autumn and then like doing big hikes or running in the spring, and like physical preparation. And yes, that was really, really, really good. And of course, a lot of skiing in the winter. We were skiing a lot. Like, I think every Tuesday afternoon, we could go skiing. On the Wednesday afternoons, there's no school in France, so we were skiing as well. And then Thursday afternoon as well. And then Saturday and Sunday at the ski club. So we were skiing like 5 days a week.
Whoa, that's amazing.
So, yeah, that was cool. So I think that did help me, like, I was like 12, 13, 14 at that time, and we were doing basically 20 hours of skiing a week. So I think that and skiing, like, it's not the hardest aerobic sport, but you're outside, it's cold, you're high up, you're out in altitude, and I think that did help to build what I'm now like as a rider, because just big days out all the time, outside, altitude, cold, and everything. So I did think, now looking back, I think it helped me. Yeah.
Yeah, good place to learn. And that was where you discovered mountain biking, right? It was in the springs and autumns when you couldn't ski.
Yeah, exactly. I think I always remember myself like riding a bike, even when I was very small, but it was just like after school, and in the house, was spinning around, jumping stairs and stuff like that. But the first time I think I really remember going for a proper bike ride and like pedaling up and riding a trail down, it was in that ski, in that ski class, yeah. So yeah, and that was really cool. But it was really hard because I was really unfit.
Really?
Yeah, and so it was in the class. It was a mix between like alpine skiing and cross country skiing. So there were all the cross country skiers as well, and my friends were mainly cross country skiers, and they were so much better than me at the time. And I was like, this is so hard. And so yeah, I don't think I was naturally fit. It just came by as I was riding every day from day on. So yeah.
You obviously enjoyed riding off road though, and having that experience. There must have been something.
I loved it. I loved it. I was just a bit jealous because my ascent faster on the way up.
It's a gnarly place to learn to ride. A gnarly place to learn to ride that valley, though, hey?
Yes, there's nothing flat. Like wherever you go, you need to go either up or down. So physically, it's really hard, but technically, like the trails are mostly pretty flowy. Like it's not very rocky. Like you can have some really nice meadow forest and everything. So yeah, it's hard physically, but it's not like super, and it's mainly dry. Like in the Giro, we say that we have more than 300 days of sun in the year. Whoa. So it's a really dry region, and so yeah, it's not like all full of camber routes and stuff like that. So
okay, yeah, so a good place to get into it, and I guess you can go higher into the high alpine and get to more janky stuff if you want it. But
yeah, exactly,
yeah, and you got into a local mountain bike club then, fairly young.
Yeah, about at that time, because I just really liked it, and there was a club in Southern GS. That's where the college in France is. So went from like 10 to 14 years old, and there was a club just next to it. So I was riding there every Saturday morning. And what was great is that our coach from that club, he was a really good ultra-marathon mountain bike racer. So he won like all the Transvésubien and stuff like that, like really hardcore mountain, extreme marathon races. So pretty early we had this vision of like his riding was pedal up for a long time and ride down. And he was really good technically as well, because these races are really hard. He wasn't the best descender, like he wasn't like an enduro racer or downhill racer, but like I remember on some training, like we were pedaling up single tracks a lot, because while there's no bike trails, it's like hiking trails, but most up, like some are really good on the way up as well. It's still pretty steep, but like, so we had some awful switchback to go up. And I remember going up this trail, and if the game was, if we put a foot down on the way up on the switchback, we need to do it 3 times in a row to make it better. So the goal was, of course, not to put the feet down, because it was harder if you had to do it 3 times again. And so, yeah, we really quickly had this approach of like riding natural trails, and like it was the technical side of it was to make it work, like to be able to ride these pretty awkward trails.
Yeah, that's a really cool approach to have at a young age. And I guess the French system is well known for racing and a good structured like race program to bring French riders up through the system. So I guess, was the club going to races? Was there options there to take you to races, or? So
I never did any like TFGV, it's called, or TRGV for the regional one. So that the one that's really famous was like XC downhill and trials all in the same day, and I never did any of that. But I did, of course, a lot of my club was organizing the Repoban, it was called, and it was an XC marathon in Monviso, and there was like a 20 kilometer one, the 40 kilometer one, and the main one was like 70 kilometers. Okay. So yeah, we were racing that. That was like the main race of the year. So when we were young, we were doing the 20 kilometers. But that was XC. It was pretty technical, but it was like an XC. But okay. So I did race that a bit, and I think then a bit later on, I had a friend with me at the club that was at school with me and everything. When he started racing some enduro French Cups, and his dad was taking him to the races. And for one race, he said, "Hey, you want to come with us to the race?" And I just went with them, and that was my first French Cup in Val d'Isère in 2015, I think. Okay. So I think Jerome Clement's one, and maybe Cécile Ravanel or something. It was, and I was like, oh, they're here, you know. And I was like on the triple chainring, rigid seat post, and I did up maybe like 250th, so I like 280 or something like that, and like 70th junior or something. But I had so much fun. I was like, because it was a 2-day race, French Cups, and big stages. Big days out, and more like, wow, it's really cool. We didn't even have to pedal up, switch back, so it was really fun. So yeah, I think that's when I discovered I was having more fun than like a bit of the gravity oriented stuff. Yeah, but I was really bad. Like, ended up way back. But
you'd been young though, right? You'd have been like 14 or something when you started.
Yeah, so yeah, my first French. If it was 2015, I was 14 years old. Yeah, because I'm from December 2000. So yeah. 14. But you got the bug and came back, and 2016 was a full series of all the French Enduro Cups, right? Yeah, exactly. And from there on, I just did that, and from there on, at the club as well. So because it was a small group, like about 8, I think. So 2 of us, my friend and I, were doing all the French Cups. So it was a big chunk of the group. So everyone started to be a bit more like gravity oriented, and even like the Saturday rides at the club, they're much more like around enduro rides and less about climbing switchbacks and stuff like that. So I think that helped me to improve pretty quickly. And just, I was riding every day and racing a lot and making mistakes and having punctures and breaking chains, and then everything that you do at the beginning to learn what you do. So yeah, that was the start of it. Yeah, and you've never been shy of having a crack at big events. In 2017, you raced your first Epic Enduro, so you'd have been 16, I think. Just briefly explain what Epic Enduro is, because it's sort of been touted as the hardest enduro race on the planet. Yeah, well, that's what they're trying to do every year. They're trying to make it harder and harder. So in the numbers, it's 120 kilometers, about 5,000 meters of climbing. And depending on the year, it's about like from 9 to 14, 15 stages. And it's fully pedal, like no shuttles, no nothing. It's just you and your bike going up and down, up and down, up and down the whole day. And so that's on the numbers. But what you don't see in the numbers, it's like, so it takes place in Olague in France, where there was the EWS in 2018, which I think everyone remembers it at the hardest EWS ever. That was my first one as well. So the trail there are really, really, really rocky, really rough, and it's really cool to ride. Like some are really, really fast. There's like some ancient like Roman trails. It's like canad, they call it in French, and it's I guess before they invented tarmac, they just put big rocks nice and flat on trails. So it's pretty wide, like about a meter wide, and there's like all these big rocks and really nicely put together. But of course, there's always some gaps in between everything. So you can ride really fast, but it's so rough. And so there's some trail like that, and there's also some more natural stuff. They're always really rocky and big elevation gain as well. Like everything's like 800, 900 meter. So yeah, it's also a really, really hard technical race. And to make that fit in one day, we usually leave at like 4:30 in the morning. So depending on how fast you're going, the first 2 stages, you do it by night. So just with a little torch and yeah, so it's a pretty hardcore event. Yeah.
Fair play. What was that like, tackling that at the age of 16? That's a hell of a mission to take on.
I had no idea what it was. So some friends from the club just say like, "Oh, we're going to do that. You should come and do it." And I was like the most enduro rider of my club. They were all doing like FC marathon and everything. And yeah, so they took me there. I had no idea what it was. And I didn't finish because I broke my wheel like 2/3 in, and then I was late for the next stage. And I got in, but so hard. I just remember we did the first loop. I think even the first stage from that edition was like a 25-minute stage or something in the night. And I got at the bottom and I was already like cramping and everything. It was already like a 4-hour ride or something. So I was like, how can I make it through? And I had no idea about nutrition or what to drink. And yeah, so it was a complete shock. And so I did about 80 kilometers, I guess, on that day, and maybe 3,000 meter. But it was traumatized. It was so hard. Well, yeah, it was a really, really hard race. But after that race, everything, like all the French Cups, all the other races, I did felt easy. So I was like, oh, maybe it did learn me quite a lot. So I decided I wanted to do it again and again and again.
Yeah, and it obviously, it didn't put you off taking on big challenges. When COVID came and kind of shut down racing for a year, you decided to give yourself a little bit of a challenge while you were not able to go racing, and you took on a local tour and set a fastest known time. Again, crazy stats. Tell us about that mission. Yeah,
so that was 2020. So it was, COVID year. It was my last year in U21 in the EWS. So I wanted to do the full series. So I did the GoFundMe at that time to help me fund the season and go to Chile and Colombia. And of course, I think it was 2 weeks before we left, everything got cancelled and everything. So, and it was, I think, one of the first, I was always riding and everything, but I think one of the first winter I really remember, like, I felt like I was training, like going to the gym and doing sprints and being careful about what I was doing. So I was really ready to go racing, and we didn't. So it was a big frustration, and then we were all stuck in the mud and everything. And so I was at my parents' house at the moment, which was in the middle of the Kira Natural Park. And Kira is really famous for hiking. And there's a loop, the GR58, that goes all around the Kira. It's called the Tour de Kira. And so 5 to 6 days for hikers, 5 to 6 day hike. And I had some friends that did it in one go on trail running. And they've got like 24 hours or something like that. So it's because the loop is 120 kilometers and there's 8,000 meters of climbing.
Okay, big day.
And so I was like, I'm feeling good, I'm feeling fit, and I have nothing else to do. So I just thought it was a good idea to try and set the fastest known time on the bike, because I haven't heard of anyone doing it on the bike. So I started that and did some big rides before, once we were allowed to go out. And yeah, I think end of June, I just started at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I wanted to end up on the same day before 6 o'clock. So And I think I only got because I spent 14 hours 53 to do the whole loop. So that was the fastest known time for 5 or 6 years until this summer when someone beat me by 7 or 8 minutes.
Oh no!
So I've lost it now, yeah. But yeah, I did that, and that was really actually I was impressed how people like that. At first, I did it for me just because for the local scene, it's always like it's a famous trail and things. Everyone has done it at least once or something. So yeah, I've lost my record on that. But I was impressed about how people liked it actually, because it was I think people were bored as well because it was COVID, nothing was really happening, and I did that, and one was like, oh, look what you can do, and it's funny, it wasn't the plan at the beginning, but it was also the thing that I did that around where I live. It's really whatever the part of the loop you are, you're always 20 kilometers away from my friend's house. So it was a really local challenge, and I think people like the way you could do big challenges and kind of adventures, get really close to your home, and I think that was the thing that people liked about it. So yeah, it's a really cool project. Yeah.
How do you feel about someone taking the fastest known time away from you? Do you want to go chase that again, or are you cool to let that go?
Yeah, I think I can let it go. It's okay. It's okay. I did it once. It was quite a while ago, so I guess I could go quicker now, but it's a big day. 8,000 meters of climbing, and I'm not sure I want to do that again if I don't really want to. Yeah. I think you really want ultra endurance stuff. You can't fake it. You really need to want to do it to make it work. Same for Epic Enduro. You can't go and be oh, I'll see how it works, and it doesn't work. These things racing, because it's a really mental challenge. Because I think if you can be fit and train to ride fast for 4, 5, 6 hours, I think 10 hours plus riding is just mental. It's just mental strength. So I think you really need to want it.
Yeah. I was going to ask what was harder in these big challenges, whether it's the sort of physical resilience side or the mental resilience side. And it sounds like it's really with the mental side.
Yeah. I think, of course you need to train, and it depends on how fast you want to go. I think same for Epic Enduro. If you just want to finish the race, I think if you're just really stubborn and you're of course a very good rider, especially technically, you can finish it. But if you want to win the race or go fast, then you need to be really fit. But yeah, I think all the ultra endurance stuff, it's just really about being stubborn. Yeah.
Do you think you can train that mental resilience side of things? Because we all know how to train, give or take, the physical side. But what about the mental side?
Yeah, I think you can. For me, for this year, when I was training for the Epic Enduro, it was just about, if you put a lot of effort in, then it makes more sense to push on the day, because if you, for 4 months, especially here, because Epic Enduro is in April, so it means I have to train all winter. Mm-hmm. So if you go riding 5 times a week and it's -10 and there's snow everywhere, and you still do that for 3-4 months, then you get on the day of the race and you're I gotta make it count because I didn't do all that for nothing. So that's, in a way, makes you train for it or prepare for it, just because it makes more sense just to don't give up in the day. And I think, of course, I do train a lot alone on myself. So I think if you stubborn enough to go training 20 hours a week alone in the winter, then of course it does help you to be mentally ready on the hard day. Yeah.
Are there any techniques or strategies that you'll put into place in the event? There's always a point on these big events where you're oh man, what am I doing? This really hurts. Yeah. How do you deal with that? Is it always the same process you go through at that point, or are you kind of responding to the circumstances in the day, or what?
On these days that you're going to have some highs and lows. So I'm really trying to have some short-term goals, on Epic Enduro. If you start the morning at 4 o'clock and oh my God, stage 14 is going to be so hard that you can't make it. So just take it step by step and be like, okay, I'm going to do stage 1 because I'll usually practice a bit the race before. So I know the stages a bit. So you have an idea of what it is. So I'm probably like, okay, stage 1's pretty easy. So just do that. And then stage 2, be careful, that section is very technical, like in the rock garden and Fontaine. And then maybe like the transfer to stage 3 is really hard. So eat well there, and then it's probably like the feed zone after stage 4. So think about this feed zone and just do it like step by step by step, and just like tick boxes all the way through to because I think you need to keep like one thing in mind, and not like, oh my God, how am I going to deal with the 13 stages or whatever's coming. So that's a big part of it. It's about cutting into pieces the event. Same for like you told me, Kira, like there was some really long climbs. There's about 8 cols to go through. So I just took it calm by time. Like, okay, now I'm doing this col and I'll see how it goes. And I think it's a good help.
Yeah, fair play. I want to talk a little bit about Enduro World Cup, EWS, EDR, whatever we want to call it these days. Yeah. You started in 2018. I think you got a wild card to Alag, which, like you said, it was widely renowned as one of the hardest ever EWSs. It's a hell of a one to kick off your EWS career with.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I did twice the Epic Enduro before the EWS, so I kind of knew what the trail were like, and I think it's because I was in the fastest French juniors at that time. We had the wild card, or it was pretty easy to. I could enter like without too much problems, so I could get in that race, and I was so happy to be there because I was a big fan of like all the EWS recaps and on tracks and all this stuff. So I got at the race and I knew who the anyone was, and I was really happy just to follow the race while being there. But it was so hard. It was a 4-day race. So you get 1,500 meters of climbing every day with shuttles. So like maybe 2,000 or 300 or 3,000 meters down per day as well. And you had rain and the trail was really hard. So yeah, but I finished that and I liked it so much. I think just all the atmosphere and riding was all my idols and everything. I think a big thing for me, yeah. And on that year, I did 3. So I did Olag and then the trail, which was equally hard, I think. I think that year, it was 2-day as well. I think that year in the trail had like 9 stages, and they were all like 1,000 meters down from what I remember. And same had a thunderstorm. And as I said, while it's pretty dry, so I've never really ridden in wet or muddy conditions. So that was a big shot as well. And the trail, I remember like couldn't lie down. I probably had dry tires pretty worn out as well, so it didn't help. So I did these 2, and then I did finale. And then I had DHM, and I was just riding down the edge, and I was like, this is cool. I always wanted to do that. So yeah, and then 2019, I took it a bit more seriously. Uh-huh. So racing E21, I had a few top 10s E21, and 2020 COVID year, so we didn't have many races. We still had a few, like 3, I think. And I wanted to podium. Like I think everyone my age, or you want maybe 21 wanted you got like had a podium on your last year before going to lead. So that was really like the goal of the year. And I got 4th in finale, and I think I finished 5th overall. Uh-huh. So I never had my U21 podium, but yeah, that was cool. I think there's a lot. It's like 2018, 2019, I was still like getting, from what I look at it now, it was pretty amateur, like really amateur actually. Like I was drinking water and eating a banana every 2 hours, just riding, And when I see how much effort I put in now and how much everyone's putting, and I think it was the same at the time, I had no chance to be competitive because I was just doing everything wrong. But yeah, I've just been learning alone, I think. And I think now it's been 2, 3, 4 years maybe, so I feel a bit more competitive and I know what I'm doing. So yeah.
What are the biggest changes you've implemented? Is it on that sort of nutrition hydration side, or?
Just, yeah, that's a part already. Like just drink and eat all day. Like, I think the biggest change is also that I started training properly. Like just before, I just took my bike and go riding for 3 hours, and it's good to start with, but I was not doing any sprints, any gym, on the like specific preparation. It was like I just did like big XC reach on one home and enduro bike. And once I started training properly and just focusing a bit more on like the way down and actual technique and ride as well, I just do ride bike parts and do shuttles and stuff like that. I never did that before. Things that did help you a lot, to ride better. Yeah.
Do you enjoy the training side of it now that it's become more structured and maybe not outside in that amazing environment that you live in?
I love training. You run like every single day of the year. I think it's, even if it's a rest day, I'll just go slowly and do like a 1 hour ride, something, but I can't stay at home. So I love riding so much. I love training as well. I think I just like the grind of it. I think also it's because racing is much more fun if you fit. If you're struggling and if you're not leading and if you're trampling in the way out in the transfer, you later the transfer, it's really not fun. So I think it's more fun to race if you prepared well, say, and trying to have fun in the races. So I'm trying to train hard, yeah. It's just a good motivation, to go and do some steps.
Nice. And how have you changed the nutrition and hydration side of things? Like, what are you consuming through a race event these days compared to water and bananas that you were using?
Yeah. Well, first, just I try in the waters that was helped a lot because you can't. I'm pretty good at eating kind of everything. I remember at my first Epic Enduro, I had a pizza in the middle of the race because I was just so hungry. So, but on ultra endurance stuff, you can eat a bit, like I feel like I can be a bit more flat about what I'm eating. But on EDR, especially now with how high the intensity is, you can't start the stage as a pizza. And so yeah, a bit like everyone, I think just trying to be like 60, 80 grams of carbs per hour, whatever the answer's day is. So if it's in the bottle, if it's the gels, bars, bananas, I like bananas. This doesn't like taste too sweet, So yeah, just eating and drinking well, and even like in the evening, like eating well before the race and after a long ride and everything. It's just, I'm not the best around that, but just so much better than I used to be.
It makes a huge difference, when you get that stuff right. You can really feel it.
Yeah. Well, you just need to get it wrong a few times. Like, I remember a bit younger going for like 100-kilometer road rides, which is half a liter of water. 2 hours later, you're like, I can't pedal anymore. It's so hard. And then you do it again and you just eat the whole way. And like, oh no, I feel so good today. And then you zoom out and like, no, different things, like one I was eating and the other one I wasn't. So
yeah. It's not always the fitness that's letting you down, right?
Yeah. No, I know you need like a lot of strategy and everything, especially where I live. If you go up and down coals and everything, like there's a big difference in temperature and everything, and that burns a lot of calories as well. So it makes it even harder if you not eating.
And you've done all of this as a privateer, right, Glenn?
Yeah, as a privateer. And I think also what's a bit different is that there's no like really good riders in my area. And I think that's why I'm doing all these different races, is that I do have like, there's no one to follow, no one has done it before me from where I live. So I do realize now that it was pretty weird. Like in my first year racing in AWS, I was doing like Tosses again and Epic Enduro at the same time. And like races are actually really different. But as no one told me, like people don't do that. People just do all the French Cups and World Cups, or people just do these other races. I just did it my way, I think. So yeah, I think it's a different approach because I didn't have anyone to follow here.
Do you think can be detrimental? Like, do you think the non-enduro World Cup racing that you're doing supports and helps your enduro World Cups, or do you think it takes away a level of performance from the enduro World Cups? Because they're quite different, aren't they?
Yeah, that's a question I ask myself a lot. Because in some ways, you do learn so much on like blind racing and long races and stuff like that. but of course, like the rhythm and the intensity is really different. So I think there's, of course, some really good thing to take. Like on a week like Stoking, for example, you get so much riding and so much racing in, I think it was 24 stages for Stoking. Like that's almost like a full EDR season, and get that in just a week. So after Stoking, once you've recovered, I remember like I felt I was riding so well because it had so much volume and everything. But as a preparation, of course, it's much more like high intensity. I mean, even with lines and GoPros and everything, it's still really different, these two types of racing. So I guess there's some really good side to take. And of course, if you only focus 100% on EDR, you maybe do like much more like shorter sprints and more gym and maybe more shuttles, more bike parts, and more downhill focus stuff. So yeah, I think there's some good points and some other one. I just felt like all these races, like it's some races like you actually like so uncomfortable, kind of like Epic Enduro, like racing a stage by night. It's like you don't feel really good riding, or Stoking, or like like stage 17 of Stoking, you've got to be tired, and you're riding line as well, so you're not on the best line all the time, so you adapt a lot. And I think all this stuff like makes you feel pretty uncomfortable. So once you're on the EDR and you know the trail, you've watched your GoPros, maybe you've walked it as well, you're not that tired because you can sleep in a bed and not in a tent, and you had a good breakfast and all these aspects that makes EDR this, like, I think the intensity is this high in EDR racing because everyone's so ready. Yeah. And like you control all the aspect of the race and of the 3 days before the race. So once you're on an EDR and you don't know the tracks and anything, it feels way easier coming.
Yeah. And the EDRs come round a bit more towards the longer events again this year. We've had more like 2-day race, 2-day practice, which is cool, I think. I don't know, what's your take on what an EDR should be? Yeah, I was really happy with like the 2-day races and even the stages. I think like people don't do as much about the stages but we had some longer stages. I think some a bit more physical stages as well. Like it's pretty normal now, like on the day of racing, that is at least one stage was a good minute of pedaling in it, and no one's complaining about it, which I think is really cool because I think it's part of the sport as well. And if it's like a big climb but it's part of the trail, then they should just do it. Like so yeah, I really like the new format, and well, not new format, but like the format is now. But I also really like how they're trying to keep it like really intense and really. I think it's really cool on the World Cup. The top 5 is really close, and I like 10 seconds separate. Because if the World Cup was going too big or too much to an adventure side of thing, like trans races or Epic Enduro and stuff, I don't think the racing would be as good as it is now to watch and to follow. Because on trans races, it's pretty not normal, but to have like a minute lead or something like that, And we're also riding a bit. We're not riding as well because we don't know where we're going, and the stages are longer and everything. So I think they got it pretty right this year. It was a bit more adventure to make it different to the other disciplines, but also keep the intensity really high because that's what we want as a World Cup. And if people want to race want some like longer stages or more adventure races, they should just go and do trans races or Epic Enduro or even French Cups. Or I mean, these races exist and are really, really good. And I think for quite a while, people were really focused about like EWS or EDR, and everyone was like, we need to rank this or to be like a pro rider or to race well. But you can, if you wanted to race a really long stage, and it's not in the EDR, just race Garage or like you can just choose your races about what you want to do, because all these formats do exist and most of them are really, really competitive. Like on the French level, like you can try to win the French Cup. It's really, really hard.
And I think people have been focusing a lot about trying to do top 20s or top 30s or whatever in World Cups instead of focusing on winning or doing good at other formats or other races. So instead of changing the World Cup format, I would choose races that suits what I want to do.
Yeah, fair play. That makes total sense. How have you made it work as a privateer then? Because it's, they've been fairly European based the last couple of seasons, but previously have traveled the world with it. Like, how have you managed to put together a program that enables you to perform and live and make it all work financially?
It's hard. It's really hard. I work as a ski instructor in the winter. So I think that's the main reason I was able to do it, because you can make quite good money in a short amount of time. So basically for the 4 weeks of February school holidays, I just work 8 hours a day every day. So at the end of the month, quite a lot of money, enough to do at least the first few months of the season, and then have some local sponsors that helped me, like the Ikea and a few really small business from where I live that likes what I'm doing, so they're helping me there. And Santa Cruz helping me with bikes for the last 6 years. It's been pretty hard. Basically, for the last 6 years, all the money I make will be put into my racing. So, I mean, it's now or never, and I want to do it. And I think you enjoy much more a race when you paid for it, and when you paid your plane ticket, and you enjoy much more and it's like in 2022, I raced in North America, so I did the Whistler rounds and the two US ones. So I was thinking about it all winter, because I was working to pay my plane tickets to get there and everything. So once you're there and you ride in Whistler and you racing in the US, you really enjoy every little thing, because you know how much it was to be there. So
yeah, that makes total sense. And you've traveled far and wide to race enduro, and from a young age.
Yeah.
Do you enjoy that traveling element? And I guess doing quite a lot of it alone. You're not part of a team as such.
Yeah, I loved it. Like, for example, like that North American trip, we were just 4 privateers that teamed up for that race. And we had the bed 3 weeks out. And then I went to Tasmania the year after with a friend from here and another friend from Italy, Tommaso from Caldo, who's been really good this year. So we were just the 3 of us. We just met at the airport in Hobart and rented a car and shared the accommodation for 3 weeks. And and then you go riding with the same guys and everything, and it makes much more sense. Like, there's much more than the race when you do all these travels and everything. So that's a big part of the racing I did, is just traveling and sleeping in a double bed with someone you've never met before, and all those kind of stuff. Yeah, it's just making it work, and then you go and do the race, and the race is just a small part of the whole 3 weeks traveling and everything. So it's really cool thing to do, I think.
Yeah. Are there highlights from your travels, like particular places you've been or people that you've met along the way that have really stood out to you?
Yeah, I think Tasmania was amazing with how good the riding was. I think when I was in Tasmania, I was riding every single day just because I wanted to just on the other side of the world. Of course, you came there for the race, but you really want to make the most out of the trip. So we were riding every day. And same I raced Andes Pacifico in January this year. I traveled alone to Chile and met some really cool people. Like, I found some Chilean locals that took me in their pickup to go and ride a good bike park, which was like an hour drive from there. And then we did some shuttle with their pickup and everything. Like, it's crazy how you can be on the other side of the world, and just because you have a bike and they have a bike, and you can be friends, and it's as simple as that. So that's cool. Yeah. Universal really language. Cool.
Yeah, it is, man. How was that Andes Pacifico? I've often looked at that and thought it looks like an amazing event.
Yeah, same. I always looked at it. I was like, I need to do that. And I think they paused it for a few years and it came back this year. And as soon as it came back, I was like, I'm going back. Whatever, I'm going back. I want to do it. So it takes place in January. So for me, it was pretty hard because I was doing some sprints in December in the snow, basically, and I couldn't ride proper dry trails like it is over there. So preparation was funny, and just to have a race in the middle of the winter it does change from like the usual seasons. And the race was amazing. Like, I think some stage, like just terrain is so different from anything there. It's just like 20 centimeter thin powder watts. And at the end of the race, I had a really sore throat and everything because of breathing so much dust. It's just so dusty. And it was pretty warm, like sunny, about 30 degrees. And there was a meter of snow at home. So it was a fun event. So some stages were insane, like really, really good. Like some real 10-minute long, or just in one route, and you just find the route like that, and it's so good. And what was funny is the Chilean organization was so loose. It was really cool. Yeah, it was like meet up at the bus at 7:30 and get at the bus at 7:30, and there's no one there. And get to the coffee next door, and everyone's here having coffee till like 9 o'clock. And then maybe we'll leave, and yeah, we finished every goal at like 9 or 10 o'clock. I think it was it made the whole adventure much more. It just makes memories. You're just outside with your bike all day, like literally all day from 8 to 10. So yeah, that was a really, really cool event. And I got a puncture on day 3, so I was second on the race behind Marco Osborne, and I had a puncture, so I moved back to 5th or 5th, I think, and I actually came back to 4th on the last day. So it was a weird mix. I was a bit disappointed, but at the same time, I just had a really, really good week of riding. So yeah, this specific was a cool one. And there's so many like good trans racing. And yeah, like I did another one in Italy this summer, and it's funny how in the title they all have they're all like trans races, so you feel like it's the same discipline, but as it depends on where it is and who's organizing it, there's so different all of them, because there's not a proper definition of even what enduro is and what trans racing are and everything. So all these races are actually really, really different. So you have to adapt a lot, and some have like really short stages, really short days. Some have like really, really long days, really long stages. Some are 3 days, 4 days, 6 days. Sometimes you're camping, sometimes you're at the hotel. Yeah, you just need to adapt a lot, and we like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it keeps it fresh, I guess. And obviously, you've done quite a bit of blind racing in your career so far. Like, do you prefer blind racing versus something where you've had a practice run? How do you think about it?
I think on all these races, I really like the big mountain side of it more than the blind racing. I do enjoy the blind racing as well, but I don't do these races to race blinds. It's on French Cups. We still have blind racing as well. Like we have French Cups in Corsica in 2 weeks, and we have a few blind stages, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not. I think some people really like these races for the blind racing aspect, and I like it, but it's not the main reason. But it's the feeling when you're riding really fast down a trail you don't know, and you like guess that it's going to turn right after the crest or something, and you got it right. It feels really good. Like you're like, oh yeah, I got it right. So it's a really cool feeling as well, and it's also, I feel like, a bit more. It's less pressure kind of, because you don't know what's coming. Like when you're at the top of the EDR stage and it's like a really hard section, or I remember in Poland this year on the last stage we had this awful gritty off camber section with no beeline. Like just had to do it and maybe land in the crowd, maybe make it work. And we were all at the top of the stage like, we gotta do it, and everyone was a bit stressing about that. But if you have that in this blind stage and you have the top and you don't know it's coming, then there's no pressure, because it's just trying to make it work once inside one of you. So I guess there's less pressure, I think.
Yeah. What do you think the skill set is to ride well blind? Like, is it just spending a lot of time outdoors learning to read terrain, or?
Yeah, I think I've tried to train to race blind, but it's actually so hard because the way I live, I know every single trail, and you can't. And it's kind of like it's a really rare situation actually to be at the top of a blind race stage because either you ride trails that you know, or if it's a trail that you don't know, maybe it's in the bike park, but at the bike park it does work. You can work, and you ride blind fast in the bike park, but of course it only works for 2 laps and you don't know all the trails. But I can't pick a trail on the map and say I'm going to put my full face and go as fast as possible down it because maybe there's a hiker's going out, a donkey, cows, a tree, or maybe it's a bad trail. I don't know. So it's really hard. So I think it's a hard way to. It's really hard to train to race blind. I'm not really sure how good you need to be. I just think, I've said it quite a lot. It's about adapting. The formats are weird. You don't know what's coming, so you just need to be a bit flex and be able to adapt. Yeah, even on the physical side, it's funny because on EDR, it's just a climbing stage. You kind of know how long it is and how to pace it. And sometimes on blind races, you see a climb, you start sprinting up it like it's 10-second sprint, but it's actually a 3-minute pedal, and you just ended up trying to survive the climb. So you end up taking corners much faster than you wanted to, and going up climbs way faster than you wanted to, and sometimes it's the opposite. Sometimes you're braking really hard and you thought it was a switch back and you go straight on and you're like, and you pedal up again. So yeah, it can be frustrating, I think, because sometimes you're like, I could have ridden this faster. But sometimes it's also really good because if you think it's a straight line and there's a surprise corner and you have to make it work and you take this corner way faster than you'd want to. So yeah, you just need to adapt and be much more, a bit less picky kind of, because you're going to have a messy runs and you're going to do mistakes and you're going to, sometimes it's really hard to find the rhythm. Like on blind racing, most of the time you go way too fast in one section and way too slow in the one just after. And it's about balancing all of that. But it's an interesting style of riding there.
It's a lot of fun for sure, especially when it's Stone King Rally and they throw in a World War bunker to ride through halfway down a stage. That was a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, we did that. Yeah, true. Yeah, that was a bit of a surprise, of course. And I remember it was so narrow. I just kept hitting my bars on one side and then the other side, and it was actually pretty long in distance, and I had to pedal through and everything. Yeah, we have some cool surprise like that. But yeah, I think what was really interesting was this year in August. I did Transferita, so the one in Italy. We had night stage. We did have a prologue, they call it. So we did the prologue before the race, just to put up in order. As in, we raced one stage in the afternoon, and then we had a night stage, which was actually the prologue. They didn't really told us, so I didn't have the GoPro or anything. So I just rode it once, and then you go and race it blind. Not blind, so you race it by night. And this is pretty special as well, because even if you have good mountaineering, you can't see really well, or you see the trails in front of you, but racing racing at night, I just keep hitting my pedals and everything, because you can't really see around, you just see the trail in front of you. So it's about adapting, I think, and we should staying open to whatever's coming in front of you. It's a fun way to ride for sure. Yeah.
And in 2023 you took on another challenge with the Giro del Monviso. Tell us a bit about that, another fairly local thing for you.
Yeah, exactly. So I wanted to do another loop like I did for Tour du Jura. And where I live, there's a really famous mountain, the Monviso, which is actually the Stone King from Stone King Rally. So it's not the highest mountain in the Alps at all. It's 3,800 meters high, but it's really famous because it's so low. Everything around it is 800 meters lower. So even from the Italian side, I think you can see it from Milan. It's a really big solo mountain, so everyone likes it here. And there's of course as well a trail that doesn't loop around it. And the difference between this one and what I did before is that this one is really, really high up in altitude. Like it's really rough Alpine. Like there were 3 passes and they were all above 2,800 meter high. And the lowest point was 2,000 meter, I think, on the loop.
Whoa.
And it's really, really, really rocky, really hard to ride. So yeah, it was a bit of a different challenge because it was a bit shorter. It was 60 kilometers and 3,500 meters of climbing, which is still big, especially on the distance. It's really, really steep. But it was a really like a technical challenge. To ride this trail well and fast, it's really hard. And so yes, that was a bit of a different challenge and I really liked it. So I did that loop in 6 hours 49. And with Santa Cruz, we did a really cool video about that day. And I tried to set the fastest known time on that route. So yeah.
And you chose to do that on a tall boy, which, I mean, the terrain, a good 50 of those 60 kilometers is like pretty janky single track, very rough and rocky. Maybe not the obvious bike choice, but like what made you choose the tall boy and then how did you set it up?
Yeah, so the tall boy is a full 29 trail bike, 120 meters of travel at the back and 130 up front. And I think for that kind of lead, it was the best because there was so much climbing and a lot of carrying the bike. And it's such a capable bike. And it's one of the bikes I like the most. I think even when I'm riding here at home, it can descend so well. Of course, you need to be a bit more careful. There's less grip on smaller travel bikes. But yeah, it's a really capable bike. And I think it was the best choice for this kind of riding. For like rough, rocky stuff, but when you still need to pedal, it's going to enjoy a bike wouldn't be too heavy or too big. And it's pretty rough and rocky, but you had some like really tight stuff and really tight switchbacks and like trails you need to traverse and everything. So you need a bike that's a bit more puffy and a bit more dynamic, I think, than an enduro bike. So I think it was the fastest option. It is, the downside is that it is a bit more physical to ride down where it's really rough. But I thought it was a good mix of everything. So I chose that bike, yeah.
Yeah. Are you putting like downhill casing tires and stuff on for that kind of terrain? Yeah. Yeah,
I had downhill casing and proper brakes. And apart from that, it was pretty light setup, like carbon wheels, and I think it was about 13 kilos, the full setup. So
fair dues.
I had I put a bigger seat post, like the same one than my enduro bike, so I can't even really say drop. So I had my seat post way off, and yeah, it was a cool setup. I still run it like that. My toolboard always had downhill tires in it, so I can ride down pretty well. So a really fun bike, yeah.
Yeah, and I guess there's a fair bit of hiker bike on that, so getting the bike weight down low was pretty important.
Yeah, a fair bit. I think, I don't want to say half of the climbing, but it was a good set of the climbing was hiker bike, yeah. Because you can't pedal that a janky, rocky trail at 2,900. I can't actually. So yeah, you do hiker bike quite a lot, and I think it's even faster sometimes instead of like pedaling and like doing awful trials move or like hopping steps in the well out and anything. So just put your bike on the back and walk quickly. It's pretty efficient way of being up, yeah.
Yeah, fair play. And there is a beautiful video, like you say, on the Santa Cruz channel. I'll stick a link in the show notes if people want to check that out and see a little bit of the incredible scenery and trails that you guys have around that area. You've got some great riders for inspiration in that Santa Cruz family, right? You've got people like Ben Hildred and Annie Ford there.
Yeah.
Like, who do you look up to? Who do you take your inspiration from for your riding and racing and the way you approach bikes?
It's funny. I don't know. I don't really have like one role model or something I really follow or someone I really follow or something. I think I follow a lot of people and take stuff and I like from everyone to do my own thing. But yeah, I'm really impressed with I've never met him, but what Ben Hildred did, like all his tangents, like I really like just the way of how it's really like his thing, you know, like he didn't copy anyone or did the same thing than someone else. It's just like really his own thing, and it does make sense for him, and he's making it work really well. And I think that's what I like about him. It's like doing his thing his own way. But yeah, Younger, I was a huge fan of technical skill.
Okay.
I've never rode any. I had a trials bike for a few years, but I was really bad in just riding on bike. There was nothing like where I live. There's no trials riding. Like, I don't know why I bought that, but it was good technically. I think it was just because I was a fan of trials riding. So yeah, I think younger, I was a really, really big fan of what he did. But I think the same. What I like about what he did is how it was his thing. Like, he just invented a new thing and did it and make it work really well. So yeah, I think that's what I like with people, is just when they do authentic skill. I think, I really like what he did, what he's doing, because, yeah, same. It's really his own thing. People trying to copy, but it's not the same, yeah.
Yeah. How do you see yourself then in the mountain bike world? Because you're, I guess, pretty unique, right? You're a racer at a high level. You're also kind of an adventurer and trans racer. Like, how would you describe how you see your fit into the mountain bike world?
I don't know. Yeah, it's funny because I don't know why, but I feel like in biking, people feel that they want to be in the box. Like, I'm an XC racer, I'm a XC marathon racer, I'm an Enduro World Cup racer, and I think that's because I did it myself on my own at the beginning. Just picking races that I thought were fun. So I don't have the same definition of just Enduro, or I'm racing this, or I'm racing that. I'm just really interested in all kinds of events. And yeah, I think I see biking a bit wider, just because, like, to me, I think the main thing in all of these races are like mountains. I just like big mountain riding. If it's a Marsat race like Maxi Avalanche or Mega Avalanche, or if it's an Enduro World Cup, if it's Epic Enduro, if it's a trans race, it's the mountains I do always there. And I think that's what I want to do. I just want to ride. But even in my fastest run times on Monviso or Tour de Giro, the mountains were always in there, in the main thing in the race or the challenge. So yeah, I think that's what drives me. It's just, I also have this pretty competitive side of thing, of course, because I like to race against the clock, even on my own. On like my mountain challenges, I'll be racing against the clock. Not with other riders, just for myself, but I always have this performance side of it. Even when I'm riding alone, I'm always watching the watch. How much time I've put to do this climb or to do this descent, and yeah, I just think I want to. It's just a good mix of performance and mountains.
Fair play. And you, that competitive edge has kept you going until you finally this year took the win at Epic Enduro. I think you had a junior win earlier on in your career once you've got it sussed, but it's taken you a while to get that elite win, right? Talk us through it. It
took me 6 days to got it on. And yeah, because Epic Enduro, there's so much aspects in that race. Like, it's basically doing 3 EDR, one after the other, in terms of how big the day is. So the riding is really hard. It's really technical. The day is huge. There's 2 night stages. There's nutrition. There's no mechanical assistance. So this race, you take every aspect of an enduro race and you push it to the absolute max, like everything. So yeah, mentally, physically, technically, everything is so hard. And I think it just took me a while to found how to prepare well and how to make it work on the day. And I got on the podium. I think on every event, when I finished, I got on the podium every time. But I couldn't make it work to win. I got second last year, and I managed to win this year, so that would be big. But this year, when I got there, I was so ready. Compared to just the year before, I got second. I got there, and I was feeling so much better, so much more ready, and all the small thing. This year, I even changed my sleep, because we were to start at 4 o'clock. I had to wake up at 3 o'clock. and I didn't want to sleep just 4 or 5 hours. So for 10 days before the race, for a full week, I was just waking up at 7 o'clock every morning just to be on the good rhythm. And then every day for a week, I just put my alarm clock 30 minutes earlier. And I was falling asleep 30 minutes earlier as well. So the race was on a Sunday. So, for example, on the Saturday before the race, I woke up at 3 o'clock and I was falling asleep at like 7:30. So I still had my 7 hours or 8 hours of sleeping before the race. And so on the day of the race, like on Saturday evening, even with stress and everything, I still fell asleep at like 8 o'clock. I think I had a good 7 hours sleep before the race. And all these small details added up, did make a huge difference in that, and nutrition, knowing the trails a bit better, and I think having the best bike setup, having better torch, and just know how to manage the day, and also of course to train. I did train much harder this winter for that race. So yeah, and on the training side as well, a lot of people just look at the numbers. So they're doing really long rides and like really a lot of base fitness for this race. And with my coach, he took it the other way, and I knew I could finish it because I did it 5 times already, so I didn't focus too much on the like super long effort, but much more on like the high intensity of it. So a lot of resistance training on the bike and in the gym and everything, because the stages are really long and really rough, and I think that's where you lose the most energy, is when you can't hold your bars down the stage. That's where you get really tired. And also I was going for the wind, so I had to ride well in the stages as well. So I think on the winter before Epic Enduro, I hadn't done a ride longer than 3 hours.
Okay.
To prepare for a 15-hour race. Because, yeah, you put around 15 hours to finish this race. So yeah. I was doing only like 3-hour rides. Of course, I was doing like 5 times a week.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did a much more high intensity and resistance focused training. Yeah, instead of really long. Maybe I was able to do that because I've done so much volume before as well.
Yeah, you've got the base.
Maybe to just start with that. Yeah, if you just start with that, it doesn't work as well. But that's what I'm really different about this year, and it's also a bit more like we talked about it earlier. It was then an easier transition to get ready for EGR races, because I had also like, a bit more sprint power and like it's a bit more sharp fitness.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it was a good choice.
Yeah, and you've had a good season. I would say your best season as an elite in Enduro World Cup, like consistent kind of top 30, 25 to 35 in the top field. Yeah, exactly. I had a few mechanicals on some races, which is a bit disappointing. I still had my best result last year in Finale when I got 21st. I never managed to get a top 20 in the overall race in the EDR, so that's something I really want to have. I had a few top 10, top 15 stages, but I couldn't do that for a whole day and have a good top 15 result or something like that. But I think it's in reach. I'm not far from it, and I just need everything to take. And yeah, but apart from the EDR, like all the other races, all the trans races, Epic Enduro, won them all. So I'm really happy with the other races I did as well. So probably as a whole is maybe one of my best season. Yeah. Good stuff, man. So what's next for you? Like, have you got a clear path over the next few years that you want to follow? Are you kind of the sort of person who lives day by day a bit? Like, what's the plan? I'm really happy doing what I'm doing now, saying I'd like to continue for as long as I can, but I will have to find a bit more funding, so it's getting really hard to make it work a whole year. So I'm working on that in the naming. And yeah, I was really happy with my race schedule this year. I skipped like Montreal World Cup to do a trans race, and I still want to do World Cups because it's the highest level, and I'm really interested in that racing, and haven't finished that. I want to have a good top 15, top 10 would be pretty cool. Once I've did that, and I feel like I've kind of reached my full potential on these races, maybe I'll focus more on other stuff. But yeah, so ADRs and even like master races, I've never done the Avalanche. Maybe that'll be a bit them pretty well. And they haven't announced the dates of Epic Enduro next year yet, but I'm pretty sure I'll have to go again, because
Because I think with all these races like trans races, Epic Enduro, there's so much parameters to be satisfied to you in the performance side that you can feel like you've never finished. There's always something you could do better next year, or improve this or improve that. And so that's what motivates me to try and be better on all this stuff. Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. We should start wrapping up. We've got our final 4 questions that we've asked loads of people over the years, so we'll hit those. The first one is, if our listeners had £150, which is just over €175, to spend to improve their performance on a bike, what would you recommend they go and spend it on?
Depends where you're at. Like, of course, if your bike is retired and you need a new chain and tires, I would start with that. But I think that's a really classic answer. And then, so if your tires are pretty good and your chain is pretty good, I would say what I think made me influence my riding the most is going to bike parts in chocolates. Just because when I was younger, I was just pedaling. Like every meter I was riding down, I did pedal it up. So I was missing that volume of downhill riding. So, and in France was €170. You could do a good 4 or 5 days at bike rides.
Nice.
It's pretty cheap. It's like €30 most of the time for bike rides and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you could have a good, like, twice a month, or maybe just in one go do a full week. I would recommend you maybe spreading it up a bit more, like do a few big bike days, just shout some downhill volume that will improve the performance. But
nice.
I think, yeah.
I like that. That's a lot cheaper than the UK. I need to come to France and ride uplift.
Yeah, it's really cheap in France, yeah.
That's good, yeah. Second one, if you could wind back the clock and sit down with yourself age 16, what advice would you give him? How old are you now, Glenn? You're not super old, eh?
I'm 24.
Okay.
25, I will be 25 in December. I'm 24 then. So maybe I'm too young to answer that question. I don't know. I don't think I would change I haven't done just maybe I would. I was about to say I would have trained on, because I've been training alone for most of my years of racing. I had a coach for just 2 years now. So I would maybe send myself to take a coach earlier. But at the same time, I think I really like to have a coach now, also because I've been training alone before, so I'm not sure I would have wanted to change that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I don't think I would have changed much. No, just keep going. You do what you have to do.
Fair play. Good on you. Yeah. All right, third one. If you could have a coaching session then from anyone, past or present, who would it be and what would you want to learn from them?
Riding-wise, I think I'm pretty bad at braking. I drag my brake a lot, and I drag my bike brake a lot especially. So someone who's really good at braking, because maybe like a downhill gang, like a really fine technical guy. Maybe I don't know. He's a really good at braking.
Good question. Yeah, I don't know.
So maybe find someone who could help me brake better. Because I think, especially riding blind, because you don't know what's coming, it's really easy just to always be braking quite a lot. So I used to just burning, because I'm pretty heavy as well. So on long stages, I just have no brake at the end because I was tracking the blade the whole way down. So I think that's my weakness in the riding. Maybe outside of riding, I think I would need some help from someone from the industry or the business to help me to find help to fund my season, or explain how I could maybe monetize what I'm doing a bit better, because I'm really bad at that.
That's a struggle for a lot of people, right? Especially in that kind of enduro space. It's not easy right now, huh? Yeah, and I do what I do for the sport and for the performance, and I'm not doing it for the money or anything, but at some point I do need to make money just to be able to do it. So it's not my main focus, but I mean, if I want to keep going and do for a few more years, I need to find someone who could help me just to
Yeah, because I just don't know where to start. And then it just got my friends doing all of that. So yeah, some of you can tell me, is that really cool? Yeah. It's same. I don't have any names or anything.
Yeah. Well, if anyone's listening and they think they could help Glenn out, then definitely get in touch. But all right, we'll hit the final question. What's something you do every day that you feel benefits you? I'm guessing you're going to say ride your bike.
So let's not say that. I would say, I think I'm a pretty calm person. So just taking 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever in the day, just to sit down and look at mountains and just have like a calm moment or something like that. I'm watching at mountains all the time. Even when I'm driving, I'm not watching the road, I'm watching all the summits around and just watching the views and the landscape and having a nice sunset or something like that is just something I like. Yeah. When I'm somewhere else, it's like it's really flat or in the city or something. If it's not for too long, I like it. But I feel I really need to see mountain, to see. Yeah, just to look out the window, see mountains outside the window. I think what makes me go this every day. Yeah.
Do you find it hard to be in big cities? I guess you go through quite a few when you travel, and where you come from is the opposite of a big city, right?
Yeah. No, I like it. I like I would never live in the big city just because I feel there's not enough space. There's 2 minutes. There's not enough space for me. I like to be. I like people. I like when it's busy and everything, but I like to have to feel that I have the freedom to be alone as well. And I feel like in some cities, there's whenever you go, there's someone, and where I live, I can just go. Like I have some places where I can go and I know I'm going to be alone. And I think that's even if I don't do it every day, just to know that I can do that, it's a freedom effect. Yeah.
Yeah. Love it, man. Well, it's been super interesting hearing your story so far. No doubt there's more to come. If people want to follow you, where's the best place for them to be looking?
My Instagram, I guess, GlennMac_MTB, which is my first username since like 2015. I don't know if I should change it or not, because it sounds a bit weird, but at the same time, I think people know me, like people who follow me know me from that name. So yeah, and I do post all my rides and training on Strava as well. So maybe on Strava, if you want to have a bit more of an insight of what I'm doing. I do like powers and heart rates. I just feed everything in.
Okay, that's cool.
If people want to have a look, why not?
Yeah, interesting. All right, mate, nice one. We'll stick some links in the show notes, that stuff. We'll put a link into the Giro del Monviso video on the Santa Cruz website as well, because that's a super good watch. And all the best, mate. I hope you can find what you need to keep things going in the right direction. And look forward to seeing what you get up to in the near future.
Cool. Thank you so much for having me. It was great.